All right, Grasshoppers, on the show that used to be known as In the Box with several my former teammates. I guess still we called it In the Box. Or maybe it's like wasn't there an athlete formerly known as somebody? So we guess we could call the show formerly known as In the Box. So we'll wait for some people to get on here. Maybe they're boycotting the show too. So while we're waiting, we got the show. This show will be taped. So while we're waiting for more people to get on, so a little update on some of the events. We had that event last night at Greenwich Library. Went well. Spoke it did go well. The problem is that they wanted to talk about primarily about technology, the use of technology, the fitness world, how that helps me. I get into these speeches about motivation and everything, so I get off track a little bit. And the woman, the librarian, was very nice, Carla. She goes, Tom, technology. So that was good. Tomorrow morning, we're up in Stamford at Chelsea Piers at 10 o'clock. There's a Wounded Warrior event going on. I'm going to be on the ice up there, so not quite sure what is happening there. But again, it's for Wounded Warriors, so I love that stuff. Then on Sunday, going to Marquette, Michigan, putting on a couple of presentations up there on Monday and coming back on Tuesday. So a lot of stuff going on. It's a lot of fun. Again, Joseph Lettuce, what's happening? So, brother, how you doing? Billy's on a roll today. I'll tell you what. I think he's rested up here. I had to sign some fan mail. Bills, yeah. You're pretty funny this morning there. So we're trying to go high tech here, Susan, a little bit. So hopefully the sound's a little bit better. We got new microphones and headphones. So it's a whole new system. We got one of those mixing boards, so things sound a little bit better. And of course, Ira is here. Good to see you. So again, a little update. We had again, it wasn't many people on when I was talking about it, but on last night we had at the Greenwich Library here in Greenwich, Connecticut. I put out a little presentation on using technology in the fitness world. Of course, with me, I get off on the motivation thing, and Carla, the librarian, had to be like, Tom, technology, Tom. It was similar to the Alzheimer's walk when I was thrown off the stage. Joseph, what is going on? Right off the bat, Joseph gets after it. Okay, triple XL. Well, there's no question. That's a big melon. Yeah. Okay, what do we got going here? Willing to help my veterans group? Okay. Yes, absolutely. It'd be the timing of it, but yeah, we could promote it. That's in the worst case scenario, Ron. We could help promote it, and if I can get to it, I'd love to. Again, so that's interesting you bring that up too, because tomorrow morning, Friday, I'm up at Chelsea Piers in Stamford, Connecticut at 10 o'clock in the morning. There's a Wounded Warrior event up there. I don't know all the details of it. I'm going to be on the ice. I think I marched with them Veterans Day Parade in the city, marched with that group too. So they're great. So we got that. And then, of course, on Sunday, I'm heading up to Marquette, Michigan. Next weekend, I'm flying with a bunch of fans into Nashville to watch the Rangers play Nashville on Saturday night. So we're going in there Friday for a little dinner. Seems to be a pattern with you speeches. Yes. Yeah. Tom might have a hard time. Although, in fairness to me, let's review the whole Alzheimer's walk. They wanted me to be the voice of God. Clearly, that was not my quote. That was their quote. So they knew that I elaborated a little bit. So I didn't elaborate that long. I thought it was a slight overreaction, but, it's their show. And then yesterday at the library, it was funny. Yeah, I tend to be, people ask questions and I tend to elaborate. So, Gerard, give us send me some details and more on this event. So you got an event on the 10th of November. Is that correct? Up in Buffalo, I know that's where you're at. What do we got going on here? Thomas is whatever. That's the background. Yeah, well, I've got. I don't know what we think. We had the boardroom there to start with. We had a couple of shows there. We had just had blurred out, so it was just my face. You couldn't really see the background. For some reason, I do like this background. It's kind of relaxing. Sends a nice soothing message to people like Ira out there that needs to be soothed, and Billy Contradidiac. So yes, Ron, please send me more information on your event. Like I said, any way we can help out. If we can do a show to promote it. Again, you've got the 10th there, and assuming you mean on the November 10th. So we've got some time to promote that if you'd like. Susan, how is your satisfaction level with the Rangers play? They won 1-0 against Philly 2 nights ago. I'd like to know what you thought of that. Billy, what's Billy got going here? Billy has to beat Schnauzen. Oh, Jesus, what is wrong with you? Let me see here. Ron Jameson, we're raising money for our summer golf program to promote recreational rehab. Oh, cool. So for veterans is rehab in the golf program. That's fantastic. I know there's a lot of people do have a lot of different beliefs on how to deal with particularly PTSD, keep them moving and all that kind of stuff. So it's fantastic. You got something going on. Yes, whatever. You let me know what you want me to do. We can contact each other. You can direct message me or whatever. Like I said, we can do a show for it. We can do it tomorrow if you'd like. I didn't even catch that too. Yeah. Thanks, Deb. Yes, we're trying to step up the game a little bit here. I think the sound was okay before, but now we got these headphones. I noticed when I do that show with Rich Gabberty in the morning, like on Thursday morning, his sound is much better. He's in a studio, so this hopefully helps it too. Makes it better. We're going to start to do more. We're going to do a podcast every. We'll air at certain times during the week, but a regular podcast will be just audio only, and I'll probably put it on Apple or something like that. The concept is we're going to try to. We're going to get former players on. It doesn't have to be Ranger players, and discuss their careers and then what they've done after their careers. So hopefully that's pretty interesting. I know in the past we've done stuff like that. Like particularly we had players like Clark Gillies and Nicky Fotiu on, people that maybe other people had not seen in a while. It's pretty. So we'll try to get. We're reaching out to the Mike Rogers of the world, and Pierre LaRouche and all those guys, and others. Randy Velicek, other people from other teams. Bob Nystrom, get him on. Okay, so I really thought this one through. There wasn't many trick-or-treaters anyways, but the whole health kick now, I'm thinking to myself, okay, if I really believe that we're trying to help people be healthy, I'm going to hand a bunch of kids candy? That whole concept, we need to really evaluate that. I'm not happy with that. Give them out carrot sticks or something like that, something healthier. All right. Let me see, Susan. They dominated the Spurs, hit 4 posts, power play was strong, but not enough shots. Igor saved. Yeah. But don't you think that's kind of going to be the Rangers the way they are? Igor is going to save them a lot of times during games. Again, you're right. The 4 posts could make a huge difference. And the power play is going to be good. I think that's kind of the way this team is designed or the way it's evolved into. So, if Igor is playing the way he can play, then they're all right. Let me see here. Did Gresh has helped this team? He's kind of disappeared on me. So we live next to each other, but I really haven't seen much of him. So it appears like we're both going to Ranger events, but we're going in different directions. So what do we got here? I see something bright flying in the sky behind you. It's Mel. It's Mel coming in for landing. So Mel, here's in the morning show, we had this discussion about pushing and pulling, like in relationships, there's this push and pull effect. So what Mel does now is he'll send me an email, not regarding the show, something else. And I think what he's trying to do is to get me to say to him, Mel, are you coming on the show? Now, based on past history over the last couple of months, he's asking me to ask him. He wants me to ask him that so he can say no. That's my sense of it. So I just haven't asked you. I'm just a little bit of a waiting game here, seeing like he just, if he wants to be on the show, he's more than welcome. People love him, love to see him on. But what do we got here? Christine Brown. Where were you Tuesday night? Gresh, Dukes, and Bubba. Oh, yes. Yeah, they were all at the game. I was with Darren Langdon before the game at Penn 6, right there by the Garden for a little meet and greet before with some fans. So it was good to see Darren. Darren Langdon is a former client of mine. Got to get him going on his diet, though. His cheeks are bigger than Gresh's. It's not funny. Let me see what we got here by Rod Jameson. Penguins, who? Penguins didn't have Penguins lost like 6 in a row or something too. Leafs fan, yes. Leafs fan. Igor is the real deal. When he's playing the way he can, he's the MVP in the league in my mind. I know there's other great players, but as far as the importance to his team, he's the MVP. Leafs played better last night, right? At least 1, too. They've been kind of struggling lately. Let me see here. What do you think of Matthew Sparky, the 2-team scrum with Philly and then back your way? Which Austin Matthews with the. I didn't see that, Susan. I'm assuming you mean Austin Matthews with Toronto. I didn't see that. He's been taking some criticism lately that he hasn't been playing that hard. Again, at least one last night, I believe. But and Philly seems to have that thing. I think that's that John Tortorella effect. They want to be that team that's pushing and shoving after every whistle and trying to get another. I don't think that works now. I think that's kind of pointless. If anything, it gets they get bad penalties and everything, but. Listen, Tortorella, there's no question about his success and his methods. He doesn't last forever, but he can certainly get a team to play better. So, Tom's drone was reported at UFO shot down by the Air Force because it looked like there was no one in control. It's funny too. I found out that I'm not allowed to fly the drone at the beach where I go to. So we'll see about that. We'll see. We'll find out. We'll see who's boss. What do you get separation agreement with? Who gets the kids? A separation agreement. Well, I think every state is different. Every agreement's different. Typically, the courts step in, and if there's some concern about it, somebody else's one of the parties' mental health or anything like that, that's part of the concern. Typically, with most divorces, ends up. I think this is typical that the man gets custody of the children every other weekend and one night a week. That kind of thing. That's what happened with me. But again, like I said, every state is different, and to me that's the divorce. I don't know what the separation is. Hope you're doing well there, Ron. I don't know if you're going through that or not, but let me see here. Ask Flocky Hockey. Come on, I'm sure Mel will come on then. Yeah, you know what? Maybe that's a good idea there, Joe Lettuce. Go through hockey. Just invite him and make sure that he tells Mel that he's coming on, but don't invite Mel. That's good. I like that. Good strategy. You sly dog, you. Let me see here what we have. Do you have concern over my mental health? No, there's no concern. We know that you're not well. It's not like it's a question mark. We know there's some issues there, so it's not really a concern. It's part of the package, and we love you for who we are. I mean, it's just that there's some issues there. Well, everybody has issues. Some people have more than others, and you have yours. Let me see. Tom got the juicer. I've had a juicer for a long time, Joe. I'm not quite sure what you're referring to. I juice up my ginger about once a week. Store that in my mason jars. Can you believe I've got mason jars? Man, I've come along. I was starting to think about my diet years ago. I'd have a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken in the fridge. Now I have mason jars with ginger juice in it. Let me see. Excuse me for that. You're gonna kick me out. I just, there's a game going on here. I'm not quite sure what the game is, but I think it's a game of control. Mel wants control of the situation, so just don't know how to quite describe what's happening with him, but we hope all is well with him, and he's welcome on the show anytime he'd like. Again, like I mentioned, we're going to be doing a show, just a podcast, a regular audio podcast. It'll be obviously be taped. This is part of the reason for this new setup here, with new technology. We're going to get on former players and talk about their careers and then what they've done since then. So I think that's pretty interesting. Ira Matthews. Let me see what he's got here. I thought he got a juicer. He tried to juice a bacon. Oh, God. I'll tell you what. Health and fitness. Did you send Silverberg a note that he fired the puck past his own goalie while trying to clear it into the corner? Oh, I didn't see that. No, I didn't pass a note to him, Susan. Such a troublemaker. I was at the event, Penn 6. What was that game? Was it Tuesday night? Yeah, Tuesday night. And Susan shows up there. Right off the bat starts trouble. It's just, there's no... she walks in the door and she starts yelling and everything. It's terrible. I don't know what to do with her. And she goes over and hanging out with Darren Langdon. And she got a picture taken. So I'm there with Darren Langdon, and Susan gets her picture taken with Darren Langdon, but not with me. That's real friendship right there. Okay, Barry Shelley, you magical creature. You're a fitness expert, great chef, along with other. Yeah, okay, Barry. That's all right. Yeah, but you're right. Okay, now you can add lawyer to your resume. You're divorce talk. Yeah, how to get divorced? Well, I was good at getting divorced. I was actually better at getting divorced than I was married. Well, that's not totally true. The marriage was good for a period of time, both of them. But divorced. I'm excellent. There's no problems. We end up, maybe it's because they end up not liking me at all, so they just want to get divorced. So when I'm amicably divorcing, they're very happy because they're getting away from me. I mean, that's it. I don't know. Yeah. Susan, what do we got? Fiction writer. What, did you think I wasn't telling the truth about the other night? Did you? Okay, when you posted on Facebook, tell me, who did you have get your picture taken with? Darren Langdon, correct? There's no picture of you and I getting our picture taken together. Just if I'm wrong on that, let me know. I certainly didn't see it. Have you ever been on a breakaway at any level? I think I told the story a while ago, but based on this morning's show, it's apparent that I tell stories over and over. So I'll go ahead and tell this one. I had one breakaway in the National Hockey League, came out of the penalty box. I think it was against Pittsburgh. I think somebody was on the show a while ago and remembered this play. And I wanted so badly to not miss the net. I shot it, hit the goalie right in the chest. He didn't have to move at all. I think he was looking at me like, what are you doing? I get him right in the chest. And the guys are laughing when I got back to the bench too. I said, I'm not missing the net. If you don't hit the net, you're not going to score. That's the way I looked at it. What if he moved? It would have been a goal. So, we did your online dating. We didn't. Don't start that. We did not do our online dating site. We have to put some real research into this. Like, what site do you use? Like, what site do you use, Ira? Like, it's what is it? Pimple or Bumble or something like that. Let me see here, Susan. So basically, what Susan's saying is, I am correct. She got a picture of Darren taken with Darren, but not with me. And there's no excuses. Don't blame any popularity I have. Oh, thank God. Look at, oh my goodness. Dougie's on. The great Dougie DeVito is here. Man, I hope there's a good excuse for you being late, but as long as you're here, that's all that matters. So, yeah. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Good. Perfect. Yes. Direct message me. We'll get on that. Love to do a show to help you promote that. It's a great cause, obviously, any military cause. So Ron is going to direct message me. They got some event going on, hockey game, to try to raise money for some golf for veterans. It helps them with their issues like PTSD and all that stuff. So, yeah, I will. So again, this I don't know if you're talking about this show or this show's kind of evolved into the. Remember, like it's the evolution of In the Box, right? So it started off being Duguay, Greshner, Maloney, myself. Dukes eventually faded away because he had his other podcast. We replaced him with was Mel after that? I think Mel was after that. Then Dave had to move on, and we got James Patrick in. Then James Patrick got in trouble. He moved on, and now Mel and Greshner just faded away. But we'll get cool, Nora. But again, we've got this other podcast. Like, it's going to be a regular podcast. I don't think we should really. This isn't really technically a podcast, I don't think. But so we do a podcast. I think that will go on Apple. And again, it's going to be. It'll be taped. This one, obviously, it's just the audio version. And then we're going to get former players on and talk about their careers and what they did after. And again, not just going to be Rangers. It's going to be the players from around the league. Let me see what Joey Lettuce has got here. I'm sure I remember Billy Kay. I have single friends that think it's a trouble. I don't. No. Tom knows exactly what he wants, what he's doing. So, Billy Kay, I don't know. Although the rumors are that Ira is quite the ladies' man, really. That people have seen him around with different women and very attractive and seem to be normal women that don't have like major issues. So, no, you know what? It shouldn't come as a surprise. So, fantastic personality. My humblest apologies. Next time for sure, you're number one. Yeah, exactly. But I'm surprised, Susan. I appreciate you saying that. I'm surprised at this point that it has to be brought to you like that. That isn't just a given. That you should pay homage to me first, and then move on to anybody else that's there. But that's as long as you acknowledge your error, we can move on from there. To a heckling fan. Oh, well, the one to me was the best would be Tiger Williams, and I have told this story. So we got traded to Los Angeles. Bobby Carpenter had a long battle with the Washington Capitals. Our first trip was back in Washington, and in warm-ups, a rather large gentleman was sitting there with a bag of popcorn, and the popcorn's all over his chest and his belly and everything, and he's yelling at Carpenter the whole warm-up, calling him every name in the book and everything. And Tiger Williams had gotten all the pucks from the warm-up. It was right at the end of the warm-up. He kind of made it like a little bucket with his jersey. Got up on the glass, and he's firing pucks at this guy. It was hilarious. I happened to be skating around outside in the neutral zone, and Pete Peters, I believe, was goalie for Washington. He was skating around, so we were right beside each other. And he stopped. He goes, "Tommy, take a look at that." And we looked over. There's Tiger. It was one of those things at first. You like, it was like, no way, he's really not doing that. So that was, to me, that was by far the best comeback by anybody. And Tiger, I've talked about this before too. Tiger had this. I think Tiger really built a brand for himself as this nutty guy on the ice, fighting all the time and doing all this crazy stuff. But he was a very intelligent man. We'd got Bob Bourne and I, when we were in LA, we were both staying in the hotel. So a pregame meal, Tiger invited us over for at his house, and his wife made lunch for us. And I remember, I'll never forget, this is what, 86 or 87. Tiger had the computer on in his home. One of the first people I haven't seen with a computer, and he had the ticker tape going across there from the Wall Street ticker tape. So very intelligent guy. And again, I believe when he threw the puck at the guy, he waited until everybody got into the room after. And I think he did it with a purpose. It was a plan for him. He says, nobody does that to one of our teammates. And he purposely waited. It wasn't like he was all mad and frustrated. He knew what he was doing. It was all part of his strategy. So he was good. He's a great team player. He got a lot of his career. And apparently he's done really well after the game too. So let me see here. Val, how are you doing? Val is from Brazil. Val, nice to see you here. Don't pay attention to any comments Ira makes. Okay, Val, whatever you do. Would love to see some hockey broadcasters on, but yeah, you know what? That's a great idea. Yeah, especially guys that have been around a long time, right? Like how they get started and some of the highlights. That's a good idea. We'll do that, Barry. Yeah. Actually, I was with Sam Rosen last week. We're at an event. The Madison Square Garden does some great things for their employees. They had a special dinner for all the people that have been there for 25 years. So they made some presentations to them. It was pretty cool. It's kind of like everybody got all dressed up and everything. So it was fun. So I saw Sam there, and he, we got talking about his career and how long he's been there, and he's got no plans on retiring too. He loves doing it. So let me see here. I have a secret technique of finding hot women. It's a simple one-liner. My best. Ira's, it's probably one of those things that Ira's like this self-deprecating person. Probably when you get to know him, just this fantastic human being. So we're assuming, I don't know. Maybe not. Mimsy, how are you doing? You loyal listener, you. Hope you're doing well. Magical creature. So again, just to go over the schedule, if everybody's around Stanford, I think it's open to everybody at the Chelsea Piers in Stanford tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning. There's a thing for Wounded Warriors. We'll be on the ice skating. So again, I don't know all the details of it. I'll be there at 10 o'clock. If people are in the area, I know Ira, you're constantly hounding me. If I know it's not in your area exactly, but it's maybe you can swim across the sound or something. And then Sunday, going back to Marquette, Michigan, Northern Michigan University. It's kind of funny because I'm making a presentation about 500 student athletes. I'm thinking to myself, I can't be too honest with them about how bad of a student I was. I don't want to, because I've had success. So now I'm going to say, okay, do it my way. Well, they shouldn't really do it my way, but it worked out. But it will be fun to go back there. I haven't been back in Marquette in probably 30, 35 years. So it'll be cool to find in there. I got dinner on Sunday night. And then going to beautiful Nashville next weekend. The Rangers play there on Saturday night. The Rangers are bringing in a bunch of fans. And so I'm flying down with them. We get dinner on the Friday night in Nashville and then going to the game. So that'd be a blast. Ooh, Nashville. I can't tell you. Can I tell you? Ira like it and Billy will. Well, they call Nashville, when you go in the arena there, they call it the arena of boobs and boots. So that's the hockey world. Let's go, Betty. Are they going to give the keys to go back? I think they're going to lock me out, actually, once they're done. So when I first went up to Northern Michigan University, so it was 1976. It was the first year they had a hockey team. So we're all freshmen, no upperclassmen to show us the way. And man, we were just all these young guys off the farm and everything and living away from home for the first time. Yeah, we lived all out, that's for sure. I saw somebody recently, or a few years ago, and I didn't know her from college or anything like that. And she was saying, yeah, you guys lived all out. Yeah, we did. It was a blast. It's one of those things we learned a lot of lessons from doing some pretty stupid things sometimes. But all right, my old coach, Rick Comley, he had obviously started the program. He then went off and was a coach at Michigan State. And now he's back in Northern Michigan as the athletic director. So I think when I first see him, I'm going to give him a big hug and apologize to him for all that stuff. Man, seriously, I'm trying to imagine if I was coaching that team the way we acted. Man, he must have had some serious therapy sessions after that. Oh, yeah. Okay, we got to set that up. Yeah. So some bonding time with you and your wife. Has she come around at all? Like, or is she still like she's had this opinion in me that I'm totally full of myself? I'd like to know that, because just where we're at with our relationship. And let me see. Yeah, they've been on the back of a milk carton yet. So again, just so everybody's aware, I believe Mel is alive and well. He sends me emails periodically. Again, the only way he'll communicate is with email. He can't text. He can't call. It's just email. So and again, I believe there's a little bit of a game going on here where he wants to communicate with me, but he won't say, I'm coming on the show. He wants me to ask him. So I think he wants me to ask him so he can say no. That's my theory. Excuse me. So I have not asked yet in a while. We've been in communication. He appears to be fine. I don't know, but he doesn't. To me, it's kind of a disrespect to all of us, right? Everybody that participates in the show here and everything, but that's, I thought there was some love there between, a few people, Billy Contradidiac and Mel, but apparently not the case. Here we go. A little trivia. What was Tom's grade point average? Oh man, great question. In college, well, I got a C. I would say C's because that's what it was to stay eligible. We did have a teacher, and he rode on the team bus all the time. We all took his classes, and back in the day, they used to have those little computer cards where you get 5 little circles, right? You fill in one of the circles as your answer, and then they give you a question sheet. So the teacher came around and handed out the little cards there first without the question sheet. He says, you might as well start filling this out right now. Meaning I was going to get a C no matter what. So that was... And then there was the famous semester where I took beginning skating, bowling, racquetball, and phys ed in one semester. And again, I'm the captain of the number 1 team in the country, and I'm taking beginning skating. So, yep, took a great advantage of that scholarship. Yeah. Okay. I showed her your cooking on Sunday, and she paid attention for a split second. Oh, so she's formed her opinion, and she's thinking nothing's going to change my opinion. This guy's just totally full of himself. I don't care how good of a cook he is, how wonderful a person he is. Yeah, okay, I understand. Jack Smith, how are you doing, Jack? Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. I don't know why I was daydreaming the other day, and I was singing the song. Hey, where is my underwear? I think I saw it over there. Yeah. Didn't realize I was in public singing that song. So. Tom, I voted today in Georgia, and it took 7 minutes. It was a great poll watchers. So nice. Oh, good job. Congratulations. That's good. We should all vote. Good job, Jack. You're down in Georgia? Is that what you said? Hold on. Take a look at that. Down in Georgia. Yeah. Oh. Okay, Deb. Here we go. Let's get after this. So, now, it's one of those things. I'm in total control. There's no issues. But the Pepper's parents, for some reason, have tried to become friendly with me or something now. And I'm not being mean or anything like that, but I'd rather stay in my own lane. Because if we become friendly, then I'm eventually going to have a conversation with them about the dog. So we'll just, they can have their world. And I'll have mine. I've gotten over it now. I've accepted the fact that the dog will be barking. And this morning is funny, though, too. Right before we did the podcast this morning, there's another dog, the other one that screams. The parents must have left him at home because he was just howling. Oh, God. It's funny. I'm thinking this could be great during the show. I think I told you, too, my oldest son and his wife got a dog, golden retriever. Yeah, golden retriever. Very cute. He came over last Sunday, hung out with Grandpa. Very cute, yes. He peed on my foot there. He's excited to see Grandpa, so he peed on my foot. But, of course, he's my grandson. He can do whatever he wants to do. So he did. He was so excited to see Grandpa, he peed. Ira was like that when he first met me at the game. He peed his pants. I'm just kidding, Ira. Not true. Mr. Laidlaw, you have a great point average. You have no great point. Oh, I see. That's what you said. Great point average. That's pretty good, Danny. That's very good. Nice. What do we got here? Dan Shardy. Is that your real name, Shardy? Shardy. What name is that? Tom, what kind of food do the Rangers serve for their team after games back? None. Beer. Barley and hops. And a nice can. Nice and cold. There was no food. The way look at the way the players are now, the way they'll train after games sometimes, hydrate themselves, have a good meal. The beer was right in the middle of the locker room on ice. It was part of the culture then. That was they wanted the guys, because we'd sit in the locker room. We wouldn't eat we'd eat at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then you're totally dehydrated. You lose 5, 6, 7 pounds sometimes during the game, and then you pound about 6 beers. By the time you leave the locker room, you're like, whoa, let's go. So yeah, but it was barley and hops. Let me see here. Tom's contemplating kicking Pepper in the nuts. No, we would never kick a dog, Danny. I know you're joking, but we would never kick a dog. We'd kick the parents. At least we could kick the father a little bit. But see, the problem is the father's this wimpy little guy too. So you don't want to get in a confrontation with this wimpy little guy. It's like, and then you're not going to get in confrontation with the wife. You can't do that. So it's really, suck it up and just talk about it all the time. Right? Any thoughts on Kravtsov? I'm concerned. Well, I think like you're seeing with young players, sometimes it just takes them a while to get going. I don't know the player that well, really. I'd heard good things about him. You just never know. That's the thing with young players. You can look at their talent level and how they performed in other leagues and everything, but he's not doing what he needs to do right now, obviously. Yeah. Let's see here. All right, let's see. When you watch Adam Fox, does it remind you of Brian Leetch? No, Brian. He doesn't look like Brian Leetch at all. So no. No, I think they're different kind of players. Both fantastic players. Obviously, I thought Leetch was more of a speed guy, like getting the puck under control with speed, making plays. Where Fox really tries to slow the play down. And I'm not saying he's smarter than Brian Leetch was, but more of his game is the smarts. Maybe more Brian Leetch was with the legs going. Again, both guys fantastic with the puck, running the power play and all that. So they're not exactly the same players, but still, again, talent level and capabilities are both at that same level. I mean, obviously you have to look at Leetch, win the Stanley Cup in his career. And you can't say Fox is there yet, but you would assume if Fox continues on the way he is, that he's good. I didn't think Fox had as good a year last year, which is sometimes the way it is. You come in, you play great, you win the Norris, and then you think, okay, maybe the game's a little easier than it really is. And again, I don't think he played bad last year, but he wasn't quite the level he was 2 years ago. But I think this year he seems like he's back at it. That power play for the Rangers is unbelievable. So, and he's a big part of it too. They move the puck around well. There's been a lot of talk about trade for Patrick Kane later on in the year from Chicago, helping the power play. I just don't think they need help in the power play. Now, you could put him on the second unit. But the price to get Kane, I think, is going to be pretty high. And if you're going to get him to put on the second power play unit, I don't know if that makes sense or not. But it's going to be interesting to see how the season goes with the Rangers. And do they need a Kane? Do they say to themselves, listen, we're already good enough. We have to give up so much to get him. How, and a lot of that is how Hedl and Lafreniere and Capo Caco, how they developed during the year. Do they play good enough? You say to yourself, there really isn't. It's hard to say this because Kane is such a great player. It's hard to say, okay, do we really have room in the top six for a Patrick Kane? Bring him in to be a third line guy. And again, I'm not saying that's where it's at now, but depending on where those players develop to. So, let me see. What do we got here? We ever traded midseason? Did you feel wanted or not wanted? So I was traded trade deadline. I just traded the one time from the Rangers to LA Kings. And to be honest with you, I really was not playing well at the time I got traded. So I was really, at that time, I was no cell phones. So the trade deadline was at 3 o'clock. I'd left the rink. I stayed around the rink. I usually did not till 3 o'clock. There's no trade announcement. So I thought I was not traded. And again, Phil Esposito was a general manager, and they got the nickname Trader Phil. So we thought there was going to be something happening. Not. So I didn't know about getting traded until I got home. They had called my wife at the time. And did I feel wanted or not wanted? To be honest, I just, like I said, I was not playing well at all. I'd hurt my back. I'd lost my confidence. So it wasn't like I was thinking, if I was a GM, I'd probably trade me myself. I wasn't playing well at all. So when LA wanted me, and when I got there, they had targeted me, and not just me, but players like me. That's what they wanted. So I guess the answer is yes. I felt wanted, and again, more because I was just not playing well at all with the Rangers. So, but it was an interesting time, and again, that was the only time I got traded. So, um, let's see here what we got. Uh, Sometimes I think Gauthier. Yeah, I like Gauthier a lot. I liked him the other night too. He got involved. They were picking on Fox, the Philly game, and he stepped in there and said, "No, that's not happening." He looks like a really good team player too. Yeah, Keith Hernandez used to smoke during the game with the Mets. Well, yeah. Things were so much different back in the 70s and 80s. When I first got there, too, there was guys smoking in the bathroom in between periods. They wouldn't smoke openly, and they weren't hiding it, obviously. It was just, yeah, I mean, the things like the culture and the way uh, we all looked at, management and players looked at conditioning and stretching and all that stuff. It just was, it's a whole different world. That's why when people say, was the hockey better back then or worse, back then, it's just different. You can't compare it at all. Whole different. And let's say with the players, it's not, they're not nearly as, tough in some ways. We probably weren't nearly as skilled as these guys are. And in both cases, it's not the players' fault. That's just the way the culture was back then. So, right, the way the culture is now. What do we got here? Fox is like Brad Park terms of pace. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good comparison. Yeah. Yeah, I think Fox is a better skater than Park was, but Fox doesn't always use his speed. He kind of uses it when he needs to. But yeah, I think that's good. Brad Park definitely was that puck control guy. Slow it down. Yeah, that was well said, Jack. Well said. If Fox wasn't here, he'd be. Yes. Well, and I'll tell you, that's a great point. So if Fox wasn't here, we'd be talking about Connor Millie. And I agree 100%. And I still think that I don't know if Miller will get to be better than Fox, but because they're so different players too. Fox is a smaller guy, more control. Keandre Miller, man, he's starting to get more confidence, moving with the puck, using his big body more. And again, he'll continue to get stronger as he gets older. So, I mean, again, they're going to be different players, but I like Keandre Miller a lot. And him and Trouba playing together, man, those are two big body guys. Like those are the kind of guys when you play in the playoffs, they may not like scare you away or something. It's like every game, the long sticks, you can't move the puck because they're on top of you, pushing it against the boards all the time. You're going like you get against those guys every game in a playoff series. You're just like, oh God, it's just like give me somebody else. These guys are too much. And again, there's Lindgren there too, right? And we talked about him before. I think he's fantastic. I just wish he was bigger, but he plays big anyway. So, let me see here. What do you attribute to your poor play? Back then, so I was a physical player, and you'd have injuries, like all guys did, twisted ankles and stuff like that, and you play through it all the time. When I hurt my back, the worst thing about hurting your back is, for a physical player especially, is that you never know when, like every time you go to hit somebody, you think, okay, is this the time when now I get all the numbness and the pain down the back of my legs and now you're out again for a while? So there's always that thought like, oh God, here we go. But I've got to hit people. But if I do, am I out again? And the process of coming back from the bad back takes days, weeks, sometimes months. So it was that lack of confidence. Again, I probably didn't understand this totally when I was going through it, but you look back at it now, it's that more lack of confidence in myself physically, how I was going to be. And again, clearly I did not do what I needed to do off the ice to train. Like the way I am now, like my back is fine now. It's been, it's the best it's been in 30 years because I've learned how to train better. And if I'd done that when I played, it wouldn't have been a problem at all. Because I had bulging discs. A lot of people have bulging discs, so it wasn't that big of a deal. I didn't, be honest with you, I was like, I've talked about this before. I had that old stubborn mentality where I'm not getting on the trainer's table. I'm just going to, fight through every injury. And it served me well early in my career. But later on, if I had just been smarter and adjusted what I was doing, that's why I admire like a player like Zdeno Chara. I saw him when he was gotten older, how he changed his training methods. And it takes a lot because, again, you have to have that certain level of stubbornness and believing in your process to be successful. But you also need to be smart enough later on in your career to understand I need to change things a little bit. And it didn't just pure stubbornness. And again, the stubbornness made me a player, and it also hurt me at the end of the career. So I really can't look back and say, geez, I wish I wasn't so stubborn, because I probably would have played in the NHL if I wasn't so stubborn. So, let me see here. What we got? Tom, in your day, many rookies came to the Rangers and produced like Allison, Patrickson. Yep. I don't think it's fair to say that they're struggling. I don't think Lafreniere is struggling. And again, the difference is too. Remember, so when I started in the NHL, I was 21, just turned 22. Mike Allison was 20, I believe he was, or maybe he was a little younger. But a lot of guys were, had a couple more years on. So Capo Caco, Lafreniere, Hedl, I think as well too, came in all when they're 18 years old, and or maybe 19 even. But I got to tell you, you see a guy like Austin Matthews or Connor McDavid come in as an 8-year-old play and make it look like it's easy. It's not, though. It's almost freakish the way those guys do it. So to see young kids come in and not necessarily do well, I use Nathan McKinnon all the time as an example. One of the best players in the league right now, top 5, I'd say, in Colorado. But he struggled for 2, 3, maybe 4 years before he really hit his stride. So I don't think it's right to say that. Certainly with Lafreniere, I thought he was fantastic last year in the playoffs. Again, who knows what's going to happen with Capo Caco, but I wouldn't say that those guys, struggle compared to those other players in the past. Again, those players were older players. I think James Patrick was like me, 21 or something when he started. He stepped in and played right away. Same thing with Pavlich. He'd gone to college, played the year with the Olympics. So again, older guys with they're more, so that maturity from like 18, 19 years old up to like 21, 22 is huge. Physically, the maturity, mentally, the maturity changes so much those years. So it's a big deal to have an extra 2 or 3 years before you turn pro. So, but again, it's the unknown with, you don't know. I mean, Hedl is the same way. I expect the Hedl and Lafreniere after the playoffs they had to have good years this year, but we'll see. Maybe they go even better than you thought. You just don't know. And again, part of it is too injuries, both to them and to other players. Do they get more opportunities because the Rangers have other injuries someplace else and it gives them more opportunities? Just hard to tell. A lot of factors go into it. Some of the best defense Rangers are war number 2. Dougie, sometimes I think about you, Dougie, and I think, man, how can one man be so intelligent? I don't get it. But I was lucky to be with that number. Like, it's true. Like Brad Park wore it. Again, little known fact. A lot of people think that it went away from Brad Park to me, but for a few games, anyways, Jocelyn Gouvernement wore number 2, and then I had it, and then obviously Mr. Brian Leach. He's pretty funny too. We're at events together, and I'm always giving him a hard time. I said, "I'm going to take the name off the back of that jersey up there and put my name on it." He's got some good comebacks too. He's pretty funny. Good guy. Allison Pavlich says from I'll score 25 goals rookies, and these guys today don't even score 20. But again, Jack, remember that age difference. You really have to take into account that age difference. Again, coming in as a 18 and 19-year-old as opposed to coming into a 21 or 22-year-old. I know it doesn't seem like much, but it is. So it's really hard to compare guys that come in as 18 and 19-year-olds with guys that come in as 21 or 22-year-old. But I hear you. I mean, the numbers are the numbers, but again, that age difference is a lot. To me, it's just kind of still wait and see how good they're really going to be. Like a Bossy, he never came back from his back injury. Yeah. And so much of it is just not understanding how to exercise, like the knowledge about how to exercise better now in your core, all that kinds of stuff is just totally different now. A big part of it is the players learn to train better, train their core before they get injured, so they very often don't get those injuries. I remember I was awful. I remember one time, Bossy, I really respected him a ton, but I knew he had a bad back. We were playing a game at the Garden, and I cross-checked him the back really good. He's always like, because we played against each other so much, we kind of knew each other. Like, Tommy, my back, and I kind of felt somewhat bad, but at the same time, I'm trying to get him to stop scoring so many goals against us. So, let me see here, Jack. Fair enough. How about this? If the goalies now were 1980 equipment when you began, where would the scoring be today? I believe the scoring would be up quite a bit. That's a great question too. Because so the equipment, if you look at the old goaltenders now, it just seems there's so much more to shoot at, right? Because the pads they're thinner, the chest protectors, the shoulder protectors weren't as big as they are now, and the weight of it too, because it was all like leather and everything. So in the game when it got wet, it was just weight. Like this equipment they have on now, you go to the ice with that stuff on now, you don't even know you get stuff on. So great question. I think by far, I think again, the players are trained better and everything, so that's a factor. But I just think there'd be more goal score right now if you were, and it's better protection for them now too. Like the way these guys shoot now, with that old equipment, more goalies would be getting some bruises. So. But Jack, you got some good questions going on today. Keep them coming. Training camp used to be 3 weeks. Now it's about 10 days. But yeah, Yeah, well, again, I told the story before how so when I started, the old guys would hang up the skates at the end of the year, wouldn't touch them again until they came back for training camp. So they were probably 10, 15, 20 pounds overweight, never worked out during the summer at all. Their theory was it wasn't about being lazy. It was more about they're going to rest their bodies, get ready for training camp for the next year because there's a long season coming up. That was a conscious decision by them. And I came in, I'm trying to make the team, so I couldn't do that. I had to be in shape because I'm trying to make the team. So I came in just fantastic shape. I ran hills and working out twice a day and everything. Actually, I was up in Marquette, Michigan training. And this is famous when I went, Phil Esposito, like 3 or 4 days into training camp. Phil's a legend, and I you get it. I'm trying to make the team, so I've got to play hard, but I shouldn't be hitting Phil Esposito. But at the same time, I had a chance to hit him. I decked him at center ice, and he was not too happy about that. And but that was what it was. Now it's somewhat reversed. I mean, the young players still are in great shape, but the veteran players know even more, right? They're more experienced and everything, so they get themselves in great shape. The conditioning now is like they don't even need to practice. They could come in first day and play a game, really. They're ready to go. So, Justin Gouvernail, another name that Chadwick butchered. And you're right. Chadwick is a great guy though too. He was funny, but I can imagine. I didn't hear the names for Gouvernail, but I'm sure he has some interesting versions. Back injuries went in on Manning's. Yeah. He was out visiting a doctor out in LA when I was at the same doctor. He was going to Dr. Oh, God, I can't remember what it was, but he was at the same clinic. We really didn't know each other, but I saw him sitting there and went up and introduced myself. And great guy too, but he's going through it. Yeah, it is. And even when they were working on my back in LA, when I got there, going to see the doctors and everything, even the doctors didn't know all the training techniques that are out there now. It's just evolved so much. They wouldn't, get cortisone shots and everything. And really, like I said, now, again, you've lived for years with a back where sometimes I worry if I've been over and do it my shoes, it's going to be a problem. But now, doing kettlebell swings and good mornings and Jefferson deadlifts and all these things, doing exercises on the Bosu ball. For people out there that want to, exercise, if they got a bad back, if you do research, that do YouTube searches and everything, and just find out exercises to strengthen your core, it makes I promise you, make a world of difference. Your day-to-day life will be better because you won't have to worry about your back as much. It's all stuff out there to help. What we got going on here? Hey, Tom, you glorious, sexy back. You magical creature. No, I don't think it is. It's just more of a habit now. I don't think it really serves any purpose. It started, I guess, in the 70s or whatever, making sure the guys got out of bed and they weren't hungover from the night before. And it's just, people even talk now, they do it just more because it's always been done that way. You can accomplish the same thing by getting up and going for a walk, really. But, players like it's a matter of habit now. They do it. They've, there's some, a lot of teams have optional skates and sometimes guys do it, sometimes they don't. So no, it's not, that it really doesn't serve any purpose. It was back when we played though, it was funny. There was like the routine, you go for a few beers the night before you get up, have a little breakfast, skate, get a good sweat going to skate it all out, then go have your pregame meal and sleep for about 3 hours. You get up and you're just feeling fantastic, right? Funny. Let me see here. Maybe Joe Cattaneo would be a better goalie today. Oh, I forgot he didn't play. He was different, dude. I've heard so many stories about him. Let me see. Phil, so this is me hitting in training camp. He didn't necessarily whine too much. He was hot. Like when I knocked him down, he was not happy with me at all. But like I told the story after in the locker room, he came over to me and he didn't apologize. He just said, "So you really want to make the team pretty bad?" I said, "Yeah, Phil, I'm sorry. I just want to make it." He said, "Okay, I respect that." But he still wasn't very happy. But we got to be pretty good friends when we were playing. Oh, they traded me. Yeah, I remember we did the show together too, and I don't know if Phil was aware of what he was saying, but we're asking about the trades. Like what was the rationale besides training some of these guys, trading some guys? And he said the guys he liked the best, like Don Maloney, he traded to Hartford, so he wasn't too far away from his family. And the guys he didn't like, he sent them as far away as possible. So he traded me to LA, and I'm going, oh, thanks, Phil. I thought we were friends. Yeah, I don't think he was even aware of what he was saying, really, but maybe he was. Okay, what do we got here? The Mets had a guy, Ray Lee Jackson, and kind of would call him Leroy. Which George Strawberry. That's funny. It is funny. And you do broadcasting and I've done some broadcasting. It is interesting how, especially if you try to, like they teach you, don't try to say the player's both names, first and last names. Just try to use their last name. It just makes it simpler. Because when you start like trying to complicate it too much, because you're on air, there's a lot going on. You're trying to get like when you're especially doing the color commentating, you don't have a lot of time. You want to get in right away. Okay, here's what's going on. Same thing with the play-by-play guy. So that they teach you that, like if you're reading scores, like don't go to the full New York Rangers, so the Rangers, the score, so you don't not saying the whole thing. But yeah, some of the broadcasters, it is interesting. Mike Emmerich. Some people don't like him. I thought he was fantastic, but he was famous too for. He didn't always do it, but he butchered some names too, and even he'd laugh about himself. That's just part of doing the job. You don't always get the names right. So, what if any did you hear about the arena in Phoenix? It is. I actually heard that people said it's pretty cool. That the setup was pretty good, although they didn't. It's like seats 4,900 or whatever, and they haven't been selling it out either. So, but I heard it's pretty. They make the best of a bad situation. So, but again, I mean, 4,900 people is 4,900 people. It's not like 20,000. So it's what it is. When the fans are yelling, shoot, do you hear that on the ice? Well, especially when you're younger. Yeah, because and at your home rink, you want to please your fans. They're yelling, shoot. But and even sometimes as defensemen, your teammates, like forwards, will yell, shoot. But in the meantime, there's a guy right in front of you wanting to block the shot. And it's like, until you've played defense, you don't understand. Okay, I can't shoot it. Like, and then there's this moan because you don't want to turn the puck over the blue line, and you can't shoot it on net because the guy's blocking your shot. So you shoot it around down into the corner, and then there's this big moan, like, and even your teammates. And I get it because your teammates are in the front of the net taking a pounding, trying to screen the shot. But until what should have happened is get the forwards back there and see what it's like. A lot of times, I mean, the players a lot better now. I get Fox is fantastic at it, as like walking the line so that he can now get a better angle. But these players are good at blocking shots too. So, you definitely hear it. But and as you get older, it doesn't affect you as much. You're just like, well, no, I can't. So when you're younger, you want to please your teammates and the fans and everything, and it's not always possible. So, let me see here. We saw Gaetan playing nude piano and play with. Oh, I didn't know that. He was quite the stories I hear about him. He was right out there. Let me see here. We used to play. Doers must have kicked our in for Chad. Kind of, it was their charm. We used to say that Doers. Oh, Doers. I'm sorry, I got you. A little slow in the uptake there, Jack. Yeah. Oh, this, and again, I don't know if it's true or not, but the joke was with Bill Chadwick was that one time he went to grab for his microphone, he grabbed his beer instead. I don't know if that's true. That was kind of the running joke. So here's a news flash right here. Tom was on Survivor. I don't know if you guys know that. Let me see. Looked intimate. I don't know what looked intimate. Oh, was the Gaetan playing nude? That's probably what it was. Yeah. Intimate. I guess that's pretty intimate. Yeah. Haven't had to yell it once this year. Shoot. Yeah, it is. But again, you get to understand. Listen, fans are going to yell what they want to yell. They're not on the ice. You don't get it. And you again want to please your home fans. And that's part of the trick is you just say, listen, I get it. This is what they want me to do, but I can't do this. Even as a player, like your skill level, like, my job is not to carry the puck up the ice all the time. In fact, Herb Burks famously said, "Laid off, you get the puck, give it to somebody else," and it was true. Like my job was to get the puck up to the forwards as quickly as possible. So, sometimes again you want to do a lot to get noticed for doing great things, but again, you're a team player. You've got to do what's best for the team and do best for yourself too. Remind me, what did the hot half naked girl say to you during timeout? Yes, she said it sucked. Yeah, she wasn't half naked. It's a good story to stretch it like that. She's half naked. Yes, the woman, Herb Brooks, was yelling at us. I'll be short because I've told it so many times. And this woman comes walking down, attractive woman, all dressed up nice and walking down. And I'm trying to pay attention to Herb. And she's walking towards me. I'm thinking she's going to give me a phone number. And she bangs in the glass. She goes, "Laid a lot, you suck." So, yeah, there you go. The rink in Phoenix. Oh, intimate. I see. Okay. The rink in Phoenix is intimate. Yes. Yeah. Is that where you are, Barry? You're Bruce. You're out there. Again, the reports. I think I was talking to Dave Maloney the other day. Had they been there or something? I can't remember what it was. And somebody was telling me. Anyways, they were kind of surprised that it was kind of cool. But again, still, I mean, listen, the league to me has done some fantastic things for the league, the outdoor games and all that, and all these new buildings, UBS building, and all that kind of stuff. So there's fantastic stuff going on. There's really nothing much they could do, but Just rather not have the team, an NHL team, play in front of a 5,000 seat building. See, yeah, I saw Dave in Dallas last Saturday. Oh, did you? Yep, Dave Maloney, good man. I got a ton of respect for Dave. He, he's really, again, he had a great career. But what I liked was that Dave didn't just sit around and believe that his hockey career was what his life was all about. There was much more to it. Again, I know he's proud of his career, but as a businessman working on Wall Street and now his broadcasting career, I think he just, again, I love the way he's looked at his life. And I'm the same. I'm so proud that I played in the NHL and the accomplishment, all that's great. No, absolutely zero regrets. I've been treated great by two great organizations, fantastic teammates and everything. But that, I don't think you want that to be all that your life's all about, especially your career ends like around 35 or whatever, close to 65 now. So you get another 30 years of living. Your hockey career is such a small part of it. And again, you're very proud of it, but you got to do more in life after that. Okay. That's that little lecture right there. What do you think is about playing? MSG is so special. Even opposing players have said that. A big deal for them. Yeah, that's a great. Mimsy, it's a whole bunch of stuff. I think it's, you're in the middle of Manhattan. It's New York City, the busiest city in the world. Just going to the rink, taking the bus over, the cab over from the hotel. You're in Manhattan. You're going through Times Square, all that stuff, all the lights. And then you get to Madison Square Garden and the ice is on the 5th floor. The history of the building, the ceiling. It's just got this special feel about it. For anybody that's been at the Garden and been in other buildings, there's some other beautiful buildings, but the Garden is just, again, got that. It's that history. It's almost like being in like an old church or something like that, where all this stuff has happened. And again, you can't really even put your finger on what that feeling is. It's just, they do such a good job of the in-arena entertainment. So even if the game isn't one of the best games, it's a fun event. The playoff games are fantastic there. Once you go to if you're not a big hockey fan, you go to a playoff game at Madison Square Garden, you're hooked. It's pretty special, yeah. And again, for me, you kind of take it for granted until you get traded away. I mean, obviously you're playing in other buildings, but as a home building, you just don't realize how great it is. Fergie cut Gilbert and sent Hodging guys with the minors before Thanksgiving Center next game in Boston. Fergie is on the chat. Hand was shaking. A hand grabbed the mic. Oh, Fergie cut Gilbert and Hodging. Set and goes with the minors. Oh, Fergie, Boston. Oh well, interesting. Okay, what do we got here? Don't forget the Penn Plastic Cup. Yeah, Penn Plastic Cup. Well, yeah, it really is everything. Like a home play, like a Ranger now to play at Madison Square Garden. You walk through that glassed-in area where the fans are to go out to the game. Just all these. I mean, other places do that, but yeah, like even going there now as an alumni member and being there, you just we go up to the suites and see some of the fans up there and all the stuff we do. It's you're walking around. It just, I know I repeat myself, but it's just a special feeling that's not in. Like these new buildings are beautiful, but it's just they don't have the history and everything. So, yeah, Susan's right. Susan's always right, but I mean, it's got a vibe. Yes, it does. That's a good way of putting it. It's just got a special vibe. Yep. Charlie O's outside after the game. Yeah, that used to be the place to go. Stop in, have a bevy. Oh yeah. But again, it's Manhattan too. Like. I know there's other rinks in cities, but there's no other rink in New York City. And New York City is just such, yeah. I believe Bubba still is. I think Bubba's leaving. I think on the 9th he's heading back to. I was talking to Jackie DiPiazza on Tuesday night, and I think she said the 9th he's heading back. So he's doing well. Back in town for a little visit, but it seems like. Hong Kong is home for him now, so let's get back there. Yes. And the unique arena in the stairway. And the unique aroma. Oh. I don't get that as much because I'm usually, I'm coming in, and when we leave, we're usually not going down the stairway, but yes, there's some. Man, I'll tell you, some of the times, like the Islander games, the brawls up in the stands too, the old blue seats, it's not quite the same as it was then, but the people up in the blue seats, they were the old steel workers and they'd have many beverages. Man, there's some good battles up there. Any good Stories of Ranger groupies. No, Ira, we're not talking about groupies. Oh, I'm sorry, Doug. I did miss that too. The left-handed cigarettes. So I apologize. Yes, went over my head there. Happens. Let me see. That's right. Yes, Bruce. I entirely missed that. I apologize. The great Dougie DeVito was way ahead of me psychologically, and I did not get any pot from sucks. I think that's a fantastic idea. I'm surprised nobody thought of it earlier, but that's pretty cool. So, the dance challenge. Okay, so we've left it. Another fine young woman that works for the Rangers, Taylor. I won't use her last name because I don't know if she wants that out there yet, but she's a total sweetheart. So she's more of the liaison with the Rangers and the Garden of Dreams. So I've left it with her. I had a conversation with her the other day. She's going to approach them. She does not seem to think it's going to be a problem. Again, technically, we don't really have to. We're just raising money for it. We don't have to notify them, but with my position working for the Rangers, I just want to make sure we do the right thing. And, if they've got some policies that they, certain things they don't want to say or say. So we'll get that done. So to me, one way or the other, we're doing the dance challenge. It's just a matter of, are we using Garden of Dreams as the charity? And if not, we'll use something else. But either way, we'll have some fun with it and raise some money for a good cause too. So, all right, everybody, we are past an hour. Again, I'll be in Stamford on Friday morning at 10 o'clock at Chelsea Piers. Great event. I think it's open to the public. I'm not sure as for the Wounded Warrior. But again, I believe that's who I almost positive that's who I marched with at the Veterans Day Parade. And there was a great group of people. So we'll do that. And then obviously, so next week, then I'll be gone Sunday. So the cooking show will be on Saturday, and the two shows on Monday will not happen because I'll be up in Marquette, Michigan. So we'll see everybody on Saturday for the cooking show, and then I'll be back, I guess, Wednesday for the show with Kevin Allen in the morning. So everybody have a great weekend. Let's go Rangers.